Folks, we continue to see craziness happen in the United States Congress. Right now, Republicans are truly losing their minds first over the Senate changing the dress code because of Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. Okay, gotcha. Now you got the madness in the House where Republicans have literally left D.C. for the weekend, even though we've got a shutdown that is looming. These folks cannot get their act together. They literally are stuck on stupid. So you got Kevin McCarthy, that feckless Speaker of the House, who is being held hostage by his nutcase Freedom Caucus. When you've got Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene doing more talking than anybody else in Congress, you know you have truly lost your mind. The question is, when they come back, what are Democrats going to do? Republicans are demanding massive cuts to the federal government. But aren't the same people who voted for massive tax increases under Donald Trump, which of course added $8 trillion to the debt, representing 25% of existing debt? So what are they going to do? What should our reaction be? Are we going to remain silent and then watch the right lose their minds and then try to force President Joe Biden to accept their cuts? And let's be real clear, these folks will shut down the government. In fact, I'm going to play a clip a little bit later when Karl Rove talked about that, and he said, because this Fox News person said, well, why do Republicans always get blamed for shutting the government down? Karl Rove said, because they do. That's literally what they do. Y'all, they shut the government down when Trump was president. These people truly are nuts. My panel, Michael Imhotep, hosts the African History Network show out of Detroit, joins us. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Killer Bethea, communication strategist out of D.C. I don't understand any of these nutcases.
Hold on, let me.
Michael, they really are crazy. And we don't have Michael yet. All right, so we lost Michael, so they've we'll get Michael back. I'll turn to Matt and Kelly. Kelly, I'll start with you. Here's my whole deal in this whole piece. This is where Democrats should literally say, you do you. Y'all let me know when y'all go through all y'all nonsense. I'll be here waiting. They should not commit to anything until the nuts in the House move forward.
And my thing is, they fought so hard to get the majority. They fought so hard to keep power, Republicans, and then to use it or frankly abuse it in this manner in a way that does nothing for the American people, doesn't even do anything for their caucus or their own agenda. It is like they just thrive on chaos. They thrive on the misinformation and the uncertainties because the only way they can galvanize their base is if something is wrong and they can blame somebody else for it. But yeah, it's ridiculous up here in D.C. right now between that and indictments and impeachments that don't need to be here. It's crazy, and it's like no one is paying attention to the American people regarding what they need, how they need it, and how soon they need it, because these are jobs and lives that we're talking about.
Matt, again, these are the people who, they really don't care. They're insane. They're insane. And they will, without a doubt, they'll shut the whole thing down just because. And you see, they wouldn't even vote on a budget, and McCarthy was like, man, what's wrong with these people? Guess what, Kevin? They're yours.
Yeah, and you see how they even put him in place. I mean, he's in a precarious position to begin with, considering they had so many votes to even let him be the speaker. And I think the reason is, Roland, partially is because they find that there's political capital to that, in terms of being obstructionist. That's why we're continuing to see it. I don't think that's sustainable. I think at some point, even people in their own constituency start to say, you're not getting anything done. But that, I think, goes again to the crisis of representative democracy that we see now. That you got people who are in office running to stay in office and who are not concerned about their constituents and the greater good. But it's because there has not been a political price to pay for their, asinine actions yet.
Michael, this really is one of the funniest clips that I've seen. It was on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Ring. And she thought she was sort of trying to make the point, defending Republicans for getting blamed for government shutdowns. Karl Rove blew that up in her face. Go to my iPad, watch this.
There's another fight that everybody's going to get blamed for, too. Another Hill headline says this: lawmakers prepare for shutdown blame game. Carl, this never seems to go well for anyone, but it does generally seem that Republicans get blamed for these shutdowns.
Well, generally because Republicans are responsible for the shutdown. They seem to eagerly want it. So, yeah, there's a reason why they get blamed. And look, the American people demand that their government try and run itself in an appropriate fashion. And the fact that the biggest financial and business enterprise in the world, the U.S. government, cannot pass a budget in time and then ends up shutting itself down over things that are on the margin. I mean, we're talking about the difference between this and that. And the Republicans are going to be shoot themselves in the foot in the run-up to the 2024 election if they continue to think that shutdowns are a great way to put themselves in front of the American people.
And there you go, right there, Michael. One of their own, like, yeah, we the ones who act stupid.
Absolutely. Karl Rove, you know, I rarely agree with Karl Rove, but this is the time that I agree with him. And this is something I warned people about during the 2020 presidential election and then the 2022, especially the 2022 midterm election, because during the first 2 years of the Trump administration, there were 3 government shutdowns in the first 2 years. And that last one, December 2018 going into January 2019, that one lasted 35 days. That one was devastating, okay? And when you talk about the government shutdown, well, at least going back to the last government shutdown, 2018, 2019, we know about 18% of the federal employees are African American. So you had a lot of federal employees who went without getting paid for that period of time they were shut down. But also you have federal contractors. You have some African American owned businesses that have federal contracts. And if this gets to the point where federal contractors don't get paid, that means their employees don't get paid as well. So we have to understand political self-defense and self-preservation. You cannot let crazy people have control of the government. You can't let them have control of the House, Senate, or the White House. So this is why, 2022, the House flipped to Republicans based upon about 7,000 House votes in a handful of districts. This is why every vote counts. This is why elections have consequences, and we have to be smarter at this.
I always get a kick out of listening to that, let's say, underage lover, Matt Gaetz. Love to see him when he is whining and crowing about Kevin McCarthy. Remember Kevin McCarthy was kissing his butt to get his vote for House Speaker? Ooh, I love how he repays him.
It's Kevin McCarthy's fault that the government
is going to shut down.
Yes, and it's Kevin McCarthy's fault that the government is going to shut down because we didn't move individual spending bills. We cannot blame the Democrats for having not done our job to comply with the coalition agreement that we made at the beginning of the year. That is the fault of the Speaker, and I believe that if he does not immediately remediate that, he will likely face a motion to vacate. I'm not for everyone. I get that. But a deal's a deal. And if Kevin McCarthy wasn't willing to honor the deal that he made to assume the speakership, then he should not have agreed to those terms. Inside Washington, D.C., people think they can just lie all the time with impunity and that no one's ever going to call them on their bullshit. But, Kevin broke this deal. And I intend to hold him to that deal or to hold daily votes on a motion to vacate. Yeah, I'm pretty frustrated. And I had so much hope when Speaker McCarthy made this agreement that we could turn this place around during both Republican and Democrat control. But instead, all we've gotten are lies and broken promises and failure and shutdowns. And while that may be Kevin McCarthy's legacy, it will not be mine.
Yes, it will. Because you're a liar, too.